Hello everyone, welcome to another Eternal Deck Tech and Matches. I've been having fun brewing up some really wild, stupid decks, and this week is going to be no different, I hope. What we have here is one that's specifically built around Katra, the First Seal. So, spells can't leave the enemy void, not really concerned about that. The part that I do care about is the Surge, +1/+1, and you gain a life, and Summon, play a power card from your void depleted for each of your units. So every unit that you have in play, you get to play a power card out of your void depleted. And I built a deck around that, so we're going to be trying this. It is a hot mess, and I love it. I've done some similar things in the past, so you'll see some of our favorite cards. So there's some good stuff in here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to use a bunch of different ways to dump things into our void so that we get the extra power cards out of our void depleted. And we're also going to try different ways to play, like not care about the power being in our void and be able to get power other ways. So, few ways that we're doing things. We need to get things into our void quick. The way that we're getting things into our void is we're doing Invoke the Waystones. So we discard the top 4 cards of our deck, then play the top card. At the end of our turn, then we create a new copy of it that costs 7. We're also going to be doing End is Near, so we discard the top 10 power cards out of our deck. And we've got a split of these. We might end up wanting to go 4 in one direction or another. I just wanted to try and test out a little bit of both. I think they both have advantages. And another thing that we're doing, and again, we might want to streamline this as we play it more and decide which of these we like the most, is we have means to an end. So whenever we gain life, we discard that many cards from the top of our deck, and then if we have no cards, then it deals 25 damage to the enemy player. We're not super concerned about dealing 25 damage, although that can be a way to end the game. We're mostly looking at it as a way to mill ourselves really, really quickly. And we can do a lot of milling of ourselves with these. And then, of course, we also have some Sunset Priests. And Sunset Priest, I think, is one that we might want to have more of them. It's hard because this card is pretty bad. I mean, it's a 3/3 for 3. It just mills everybody. It's not particularly important one way or another in a lot of ways. Like, it doesn't stand out in any particular way. But it being a mill card, and it being something that can interact on the board, so like we can attack and block with it against aggro decks, and it's a cultist for things like Zhen-Zu, which we'll get to in a minute, it means that this card's kind of indispensable. I've trimmed it down to 2, but I might want to put 4 in. It's a rough spot because the card feels bad to play with in a lot of ways. Like, it is a very basic card, but it enables a lot of things, and we just need a lot of the things that it does. We need that early interaction so that we don't just get run over. So, yeah, Sunset Priest is in there as well. Then we're going to be doing, like, payoffs for having things go to the void. So Zhen-Zu, at the start of our turn, we discard the top card of our deck. It's another way to also get into the void. But more importantly, when a cultist goes to our void, then it gets +1/+1 and I gain life. And that doesn't mean just from play. It also means that if we discard cards off the top of our deck, Zhen-Zu will trigger, become a little bit bigger, gain us some life, which can also then do things like means to an end. So there's some cool little synergies there for those things. Lunar Magus is a cultist that draws us extra cards from the Nightfall, and then also gains us life. So that's really useful there as well. We've got Lumen Reclaimer because we are milling ourselves like crazy, and we are going to need a way to eventually put a lot of our deck back in, because we have a very easy path to mill ourselves out if we get too crazy. And I don't want to die to stupidity like that, so we've put 4 copies of Lumen Reclaimer. Last thing that you'll notice, that you might be surprised by, is Royal Guardian. I also had Clockwork Sentinel in here at one point, where as long as it's in play, at the end of your turn, all of your units get +1/+1, and as long as it's in your void, all of your units in the void get +1/+1, which is interesting. And it works with Stirring Sand, which is why we're doing it that way. But I like the Royal Guardian a little bit more. And what we're trying to do with Royal Guardian is we're going to try and mill it, have most of our deck be gone, because that's going to generally be the case. We're milling a lot of cards. And when we mill it, we get the tribute. So something will have gone to the void, and we gain life. And then when this comes into play, we'll gain life equal to the number of cards in our void, and we can get it into play cheap through Stirring Sand. Or we can Dark Return it and play it, because we can get up to a really high power total because of another card that I hadn't gotten into yet, Mask of Torment. That and Katra can both really ramp us up, like a means to an end into a Katra, or just having Mask of Torment in play for all the life steal type stuff. Really can help us out quite a bit there. This deck is a massive pile for sure. And then we've got some Annihilates and Banishes because we do need that interaction. We've got like Trailmaker to help us ramp up because we just need to get to that late game. And then Dark Return to pull back things like Lumen Reclaimer because there's definitely possibilities of us getting a game where we're milling ourselves really, really well and we mill all 4 Lumen Reclaimers and then suddenly we're looking at we might be dead. So we need to have a Dark Return. Also obviously very good for things like Royal Guardian, so very helpful there. We can buy back a big Zhen-Zu, a bunch of cool things that we can do with that. Our power base is a bunch of Xenan Cylixes, because Cylix is just insane, and we're only 2 colors, so it should be pretty easy for us to do that. We've got a little bit of Shadow and Time Symbols, just to help us out with the Surge on Katra, and also with the cost, because it costs 4 Shadow. Then, of course, we've got Crest of Mystery and Xenan Insignia. We don't have any banners or seats, because we don't have a lot of sigils, and I've got Seek powers that I want to play, because I don't want to have too many power cards, but I do want to be able to, like, fix the power that we need when we need it. Like, if we've got, you know, only one time, I want to be able to play a Lunar Magus, and Seek power can help us get to the right spots, that kind of thing. It's just nice to have Seek power, honestly. And, I mean, if we cut down Shadow Sigils and Time Sigils, then we're not going to have enough actual power cards for us to go ahead and seek power, which leads into a lot of problems. And then obviously we can't play seats because we have too many sigils. It won't have enough sigils. And then of course banners, just awkward for everything. So I like this a little bit more, doing it this way. And yeah, we're going to run into some games and see how it goes. I'm very interested in this one. It's going to be a little wild. Oh, one last thing is we do have Amber Waystones. It's a way for us to get lifesteal, not lifesteal, life gain out of the void with Katra, just by playing our power. And that can help us power up those Mask of Torments a little bit quicker, so very useful that way. And we are going to hop on over to some matches.